and Paul. So we're just going to kind of get through things. Welcome to the Community Dealmaker calls last month. If you didn't hop on, make sure you go back and watch Lindsay Jensen talking about master leases. She did a great job. And I think the call went really long last time. So there was a lot of people had a lot of questions. So make sure you guys go back and do that. Today, Brandon Richards, known him for many years, used to be really kind of a core part of some of the groups that we were a part of, and we haven't really connected a lot lately, but just a cool guy, and you guys are going to have fun with him today. Brandon, welcome today. Appreciate you being on.
Appreciate the invite.
So he's doing land in Alaska. If you guys can think about that, that's just like kind of blow your mind. But I'm excited to have him on. He also has a CRM. He's going to talk just a little bit about this is not going to be a pitch fest. I promise you guys on that. It's going to be more about Brandon's story. But I'm excited about having Brandon on today. I do want to remind everybody, if you guys are not on the Lowe's and Sherwin-Williams discounts, get those, get signed up for those things. Those things will pay for your deal maker trips. Trust me. Which
Yes, for sure.
are going to those. If you guys need a copy of this, like this is the easiest way to do Sherwin-Williams. Just take a screenshot of this picture right here, bring it to your local Sherwin-Williams store, and boom, you are in. And I promise you, this is a better discount than National Home Builders is getting. I used to be on the National Home Builders Sherwin-Williams discount program, and this is better than the National Home Builders discount. So make sure you guys get that going. Again, this is the ways to do for sure for Lowe's. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that on this call, but I just want to remind everybody about that. These are the instructions. Make sure you guys are using those discounts. We are starting to raise money for our next year senior trip for our kids at Hammond Baptist. Last year, Jim got to be a part of that. We're trying to do the same thing this year and connecting Share the Love with a drop with our seniors. So I'm excited about that as well. But if you guys are interested in giving to that, it'd be something I'd be greatly appreciative because we raise money for this every single year. Upcoming, we've got some events coming up. Landshark Cruise is coming up, guys. So if you guys want to go on that, Sunrisers every Friday morning at 7:30 a.m. Wendy Sweet does a great job with that. And she's actually going to be doing a live Sunrisers from our event here, 6:30 in the morning on Friday at Gary Dealmaker event in 2 weeks. So I'm excited to have her for that as well. Just always want to remind people about that. But our Gary Dealmaker event is just 2 weeks away, guys. So make sure you get your tickets. Everybody wants to wait to the last minute for this, and I get it. But hey, get your tickets. The Save 100 code is a coupon code. You get $100 off. That coupon goes away September 1st. So you guys only got about a week left to be able to still save $100 on getting your tickets for that. So I'm excited having Jim here this year. And just it's going to be a great event, great speakers. And a lot of these speakers are my mentors, and a bunch of my private lenders are going to come here, and it's just going to be a really good event as well. So we're going to be talking about investing out of the country. Steve Nagy has an entire community about just raising or just a private lending community. Brian and Amy, Felipe, Tori talk about precious metals, AI. Wendy Sweet's going to do a mastermind. Tom Barry's always super exciting. Dan Safalski's going to do a really cool presentation on Saturday. You guys want to stay till Saturday. Trust me, you guys. We're going to do a Dealmaker Leaders panel. We're going to do Dan Safalski's going to speak about mindset and like how to actually reach your goals. I'm excited about that. And then we're also going to do a mastermind with Wendy Sweet to close it off for the day. So I'm excited about this, guys. A lot of work has gone into it. We're also building an entire manual of over 100 pages of some of my processes and some of the speakers' processes and things that they have put in their business, and just questions to ask. It's going to be probably way too much to consume in a 3-day period of time, but I'm excited about it. We're doing whatever we possibly can do to add value to that. So make sure you guys get your tickets for that. And then also, last but not least, don't forget about the Become Limitless private capital deal in October, Dealmaker event with Jim Ingersoll and Jeff and a bunch of other awesome people are speaking at that event as well. October 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Make sure you guys get your tickets for that event as well. Our next call, our next Dealmaker community call is going to be with Gary Harper on September 30th. I know it's a little later in the month, but with my event during that month, I'm actually also doing a missions mastermind in Thailand and a mission trip, kind of with that as well, during the middle of September. So I pushed this off to a little bit at the end of the month. But Gary's a good friend of mine, talking about processes, talking about your business, getting your business up to where it needs to be. And it's going to be a really good call as well. So without further ado, I'm just going to let it go over to Brandon. Guys, we are going to try to make these a little bit more interactive, these calls. So if you guys can just kind of have your questions ready, be ready, and me and Jim will kind of watch for people. If you guys want to actually speak instead of put it in the chat, that's fine. But we're going to try to have a little bit of a conversation.
So and everybody say hello in chat. You know your network equals your net worth. Tell us what city and state you're joining in. You all look so good. And get ready to take some awesome notes because Brandon's an awesome guy. And let's get this rolling. Take it away, Brandon.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Anyhow, my name is Brandon Richards, and I was invited here to speak on various things. Well, I was asked to speak on various things, and I decided on land because land is my favorite thing under the sun right now. And it took me a long time to realize why land was my thing, my niche. And I'll explain that with a little bit of my backstory. So I started out in 2015, 2016 as somebody that didn't know anything about real estate. And I thought the obvious um, entry to real estate was becoming a realtor. And so that's what I did. Got my realtor's license, realized that was clearly not the route into real estate investing. And most realtors have no idea what any portion of real estate investing is. They don't know the numbers, they don't know how to properly comp almost always, and they just know how to smooth over some sellers and buyers. But anyway, I switched over to a brokerage that was friendly, investor friendly. I learned a lot there about wholesaling, did a couple deals. My very first wholesale made $42,000 in 3 weeks. And that was my proof of concept. I wanted to be a real estate investor. Um, Big checks drew me in. So I started flipping houses, started making some wins, started making some losses. And then every 6 months, every 12 months, it was, all right, well, what's next? Oh, there's my book. Thanks, Jim. Um, and so I was chasing big checks for a long time. And I was looking back. I was like, well, where did all my money go? Taxes, flips going over budget. Everything's going good, but could be better. If I get hurt tomorrow, because I'm a big advocate of being outdoors and adventuring, if I get hurt tomorrow, how's my next, how am I going to support my family? And so um, I went to rental route. I had apartment complexes, storage, duplexes, triplexes, single family. I've had all the residential rental properties you can think of. But there was always so many headaches. It just drove me nuts. I've had some of the craziest experiences. I've had 3 people die in my apartments, naturally, not murder. I've had a drug deal go bad where they just set a mattress on fire in my dumpster. I've had a 200-year oak tree fall in my building and collapse half my apartment. I've had it all, and I've had about enough of it. And so,
You've had a
way
lot
back
of
in the
bad luck,
day,
Brandon. That's a lot of bad luck, man. We
I
managed
know.
500 properties, and I don't think we've even had some of those stories. So that's
I
crazy.
know. And so that was like, okay, what? Yeah, I'm not doing this anymore. So I sold a lot of those when I moved out of Texas. And but I created a note with a mobile home while I was in Texas. And although that buyer ended up defaulting, it was like, oh, well, that's how you get passive income with no headache for the most part. There's clerical headaches with those deals. But and then back in the day when I met a lot of you guys, Tom and Jim, it was back at Financial Friends and a couple of other groups, and it was always talking about notes. And I learned a little bit, and I'm sure Dan, well, I know Dan is much more familiar with notes and certainly a better expert than I am, but um, I understood it, but I couldn't grasp it, and I couldn't feel my way out of flipping houses into notes. I just couldn't figure it out. It was a combination of big checks, little checks, like it just. Anyways, long story short, I finally made it over to notes, and I do that with land. And the reason land. Do you want me to go over the slideshow? I can do
Yeah,
a
go for
brief
it.
slideshow. Okay,
Yeah.
so let me
Cool.
switch this up real quick because at the end of the day, it was cash flow. If I stop working, the money still comes in. Let's see. That's probably the right tab there. All right, can everybody see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I was asked last year to speak on the Investor Addicts cruise about land investing. And so this is a slideshow I created for that. And this basically goes over not all of, but a lot of the more popular strategies within land investing. And without going through the whole thing, because it's quite lengthy, basically, a lot of land coaches right now are teaching how to flip lands. There's a couple that are showing you how to create nodes with passive income. And then there's other groups that are showing you how to subdivide large parcels of land. And so what I've settled on, though I've done all of it, I love, love, love creating notes on raw land. And I'm looking for raw land that somebody doesn't want to eventually build a house, or at least not in the near future, because I don't want to be paid off, right? Nobody wants to be paid off when they create a note. And so I'm looking for properties that are bordering national parks, popular staycation lakes, things of that nature. And so when I'm thinking of my end buyer, I want that buyer to have an emotional decision. So this is why I targeted these recreational type areas. And typically, not only is it because it's more emotional in nature, they'll typically pay a little bit more, and the transaction tends to be a little bit easier. And so what I've done, well, I've already told you why I went to land only. So this is my very first land note I created. And I got a big honking smile because I didn't have to call a whole boatload of contractors just to get ghosted 13 times on bids for various things, whether that's roof, carpet, whatever. Um, and I know in the future I'm never going to get a call. So I bought this parcel. It's a 1 acre parcel in northern Arizona. I bought it for 18,000. I've got a loan for 21,000 on there, and that was in case I had issues with certain things, whether I needed to put in a culvert, I need to do perk tests for a potential septic system, or I need to put in a driveway to make it more appealing. So I just got a couple more $1,000 to do that. And then I sold it for $55,000. I took $30,000 down as a down payment, which cleared my underlying investor, which is almost always a private investor if I don't pay cash. And then I put that remaining balance, that $25,000, on a shorter note and a lower interest. Um, Kind of, there's a variety of reasons for that, but nonetheless, I was able to put a couple $1,000 in my pocket, and P&I for that note is $1,100 a month for 2 years. And so I was like, oh, I can still make little checks here and there and create cash flow for years to come. And so,
Brandon, can you hit
what?
slideshow?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, my
That's
bad.
cool.
I'm not a professional presenter.
No, that's okay. You're cool. I think
And
that's really cool. That's a very simple model for a lot of people to do. Like people do trailers with the same type of thing. They buy them for,
yeah,
10 or 20. They sell them for 50. I love it. It's
yeah.
called
That,
a
like I
lot
said,
of
my first.
Kalani deals.
I know. Yeah. So, like I said, my first taste of notes was with the mobile home I bought. What did I pay? I paid 15, I think, and I wrapped that underlying note at 45,000. Anyways, that she ended up defaulting, and it was a long process, but I still made money over the years. So it was kind of fun. And one of our local friends, Kevin, financed that one actually. So, anyways, since I don't know how to use a slideshow, yeah, pros and cons. Well, you really got to decide, what is your niche going to be? If you're flipping infill lots, you got to know what your end buyer is. Your end buyer is most likely going to be almost always a infill developer. So you got to know who they are and what their buy box is, because you're not going to sell a $50,000 lot in an area where the ARV for new construction for a 1,500 square foot house is 230, 260. You got to know where your buy box is for your land, for your developers. And so that is something you'll have to do as part of your due diligence, is reaching out to these builders before getting into that type of niche. Or what I've done several times is I'll just buy a piece of property because I know I got a great deal, and I'll put it on the MLS and see what happens. Okay, so large lots, subdividing. This is a great strategy. I learned this one from another one of our friends. Um, and for me, This one is huge in short-term big checks and long-term small checks notes. Buy 100 acres, subdivide it in 5 different or 10 different parcels. Your first handful of parcels are sold out cash, clears your underlying debt. The remainder you own or finance out, and it's cash flow until the amortization of that note is fulfilled. I told you I love land, creating notes with land because of the variety of reasons, and this is where I search for those and where I like to look. And so when you want to find, when I teach land or wholesaling, I recommend always starting in your immediate market, but you've got to create a list, correct? And I'm going to make assumptions that most everybody in this call is somewhat familiar with wholesaling and real estate investing. So I won't go over a lot of this, but you have to create a list. And my avenues for creating lists are typically PropStream. My VAs will make most of my lists. So I'll pick a target area, and with land, it's easy peasy. They go on the parcel viewer and they will scroll in my target area and create an Excel for me. And that way I know my data is pretty up to date. But I have Print Genie integrated in our Deal Manager Pro. I've used Skipify and I've used Deal Machine as well. And those are all great sources. And then once you've built your list, well, you got to market to them, right? So you got to create an Excel sheet to either send direct mail or cold call, which is my two preferred strategies. And so you've got to skip trace it. Soon, we created a partnership with Only Skip Tracing. We can get skips between 7 and 9 cents. And I've tested a lot of skip tracing platforms over the years, and my VAs are getting much more answer rates with Only Skip Tracing right now. Our Print Genie integration, they have a skip tracing. I've used Skip Genie for years, probably 8+ years. We do our bulk stuff through Direct Skip, but now through Only Skip. Skipify has it, and IDI Core is one of the main integrators of those.
So Brandon, which of those skip traces did you say you like best this year in 2025?
Only Skip Tracing. I literally just met these guys a couple of months ago, and they were just
Because
pounding me.
everybody uses Skip Genie, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I love Skip Genie because you can do onesie twosies, and I still use them for the onesie twosies because it is very accurate information. But only skip tracing, currently, if you were to go to their website, you can only do bulk skip tracing with them. When we have it put into our system, you'll be able to do onesie twosies. And anyways, that's coming here in the next couple of weeks.
It's called onlyskiptracing.com.
Yep.
I'm going to look it up. Thanks.
Yeah.
So Brandon, can I just go over this process with you? I think you're going over it, but I just want to, because honestly, I think I think you made some assumptions that the people on the call are all doing this, and I don't think they really are.
Okay, I can slow it down. I was thinking time and then
So I just kind of want to go over that process. So it sounds like your niche is more like national parks, like you're going after land around those types of areas. Is that right?
Yeah, recreational type areas because, like I said in the beginning, I don't want them to pay me off. So if I sell to a retail buyer that wants to build a house in the next 18 months, well, they're not going to be able to wrap my loan, so they have to get rid of me with a construction loan because construction loan is not going to take second position, and I don't want to be in a situation where I'm ever in second or third position or subordinate to some other construction loan. So I choose those very intentionally, so that way the life of that note is matured. I don't
That's
want
your niche, right? And
Right.
obviously anybody can pick any niches they want. I
Yeah.
know some people that do cornfields. They love farmers.
Yep.
Whatever your niche is, whatever you think you can do. That's the first part. And then you're using a VA to build a list
Yep.
first. And
Yep.
then your VA is then doing all of this skip tracing and trying to find these people.
Correct.
Right? Okay. And then
Yes.
is where you're at now. And then you're either mailing them or calling them or texting them, or like you're doing some kind of lead gen after this step.
Right. All of my lead strategies are outbound cold prospecting. With so much saturation in PPC and Facebook ads and all that stuff, it's just not something that has interested me a whole lot over the years. And even more so nowadays because it's just an expensive way to cultivate leads. But frankly, when you're in the land game versus trying to wholesale like single family homes, your competition is a fraction of what it was or what it is in single family. I remember showing up to houses when I was still wholesaling residential single family homes, and there was 28, 30, 40 postcards on their kitchen table, and I'm in line to give the best offer to this homeowner, and it's just not the game I want to play. So I don't like doing those where I'm one of many reaching out to this person, which is why I like my list to be very niche.
Right. No, I agree.
Yeah.
100%. Cool.
Um, what do I got here? Well, of course, you want to make sure you've done your due diligence beforehand. They're not on the do not call list. There are platforms. All of these platforms will generally scrub that against the do not call list. I know all the ones I listed above do that, except for Skip Genie. You would have to build the list and then scrub it against the database. But nonetheless, for the most part, you're all good. I like a 3 week mailing cycle. So I'll take a list and I'll rerun the same area every couple of months, but I'll mail it consistently every 3 weeks. Just a little snippet of information. Most everybody knows that's been in the game. Texting regulations has really been really crunched down on. There's 10 DLC regulations nowadays, and you have to apply for them. Sometimes you have approval in a couple days. Sometimes it takes several weeks, and that's dependent on a variety of things. You've got to prove your online presence, a website, LLC, and what platforms. So like CallRail, Twilio, all of these platforms have different regulations they have to abide by. So some of these may take a little bit longer. Within direct mail, I'll use Print Genie, Yellow Letter, or old school printing at home. If I've got one that I'm really, really wanting and they're intermittent with phone calls, I'll send them letters straight out of my office instead of waiting for all these other services. Print Genie will do one-off prints, which is kind of nice, and campaigns. If I have time to go into that, it's kind of cool. Yellow Letter will not do one-offs. They have a minimum.
So is that yellow letters complete or which yellow letters? Because I've
Yellow
used
Letter
letters.
Headquarters.
Which one?
Yellow Letter Headquarter.
Okay. I've also
HQ.
used yellow letters complete many, many times. I think they're both great.
Yeah.
And then you said Print Genie for like smaller batches works.
Yeah, they'll do one letter at a time.
Wow.
I personally have not used that feature, but I know it's there. What I like about Print Genie is they have campaigns mixed with texting and email. So let's say you've got a really hot lead that's maybe ghosted you, or it's just somebody you really want to be on top of. You can
Yeah.
set up a multi-touch campaign where it sends a letter, sends a text, sends an email, goes back to a postcard, letter, text, email, whatever different orientation of reaches you want. It'll do all of that automatically for a set dollar amount based upon the number of touches. This is one I didn't create a note on, but it was a win. I bought this from the same seller as the yellow one. It's 40 acres out in Mojave County. I paid 18,000. I sold it for $60,000 cash in about 6 or 7 weeks. I can't remember, but I made $40,000 in a short period of time doing a whole lot of nothing. Didn't call a single contractor. I called a realtor to list it for me and made money. So I love the land game.
There's a,
As
there's a question in the chat.
Yeah,
Brandon, are your VAs internationally based?
yep, they're in the Philippines. Yeah.
How do you find them?
A variety of sources. I don't think it's in this slideshow. I actually have a completely different VA slideshow that I've taught. But essentially, there are several platforms for that. Um, Shoot, I'm having a brain fart. Anyways, I can comment here in a little bit once it comes to me. But there's well, Fiverr's one of them. Dang it. Anyways, there's
There's a
plenty of
bunch of
websites.
them. There are
Yeah,
bunches.
yeah.
I love this envelope, Brandon.
Yeah, so what I do is a variety of things. And so how I stick out direct mail wise is either I'll use very colorful letters or envelopes. So that way it looks like some sort of invitation. It's not a typical white number 10 envelope, and it gets a better open rate. One things I tried in the past were the fake checks. They had an excellent open rate because everybody wants to see a check in the mail. It could be an insurance return or whatever, or refund, whatever it is. They open it up, and the conversion is great with that one. It tends to be a little bit pricier. But what I really love is if I have a neighborhood where I know the exact ARV of what it is and it doesn't fluctuate, and I know the exact dollar I want, I'll send them a signed contract in the mail, which is why I have the 9 by 12 envelope. I'll send them my letter of why I'm mailing them and a contract with a to be determined closing date that they could sign and execute and get in title, and we do an addendum for a closing time frame. And that's been great. Obviously, you're going to spend a little bit more money, about 70 to 90 cents per letter, depending on how many pages your contract is. I use a simple one page when I do these big envelopes.
Awesome.
And then if you're doing any type of deal flow, you got to have a CRM of sorts. You can do free options like Podio, you can do an Excel sheet, you can do a calendar, you can literally have a yellow notepad, or you can have a system that helps you on a variety of things, including follow-ups, outreaches, automations. And like I said, I own Deal Manager Pro, and I'll go into it a little bit, but I don't like selling things, so I'm not going to touch on it long. But due diligence is super important in land. That's one of the bigger, stickier things with land. Is a lot of people don't want to get in land because, well, there's inherent risk. What if you sell a piece of property and the end buyer can't put in a septic system? Well, did you know? Did you disclose it? Did you do your due diligence? Did you get perk results? Um, if you didn't disclose it because you didn't know it, that's not on you. But those are all things you want to think about beforehand. Is it in a floodplain? Is it near a floodplain? If it's near a floodplain or the neighbor's septic system, where does the well have to go? Can a well fit because the neighbor's septic system is too close? And so there's a lot of things in regards to due diligence that you got to be mindful of when you're doing these small parcels. And that due diligence list gets even larger when you're doing large land subdividing and flips for obvious reasons. Sometimes you got public notices, and every state's different. So look into your state's regulations. But anyways, for due diligence, ID.land or land.id, I can't remember. I think I have a typo there, but that software there is excellent for due diligence in regards to land. It is land ID. I typed that backwards. So on the right, I'm showing a screenshot of a parcel that I've looked up. Don't remember what it was, but it'll show you the soil type in the area. It will tell you if there's high power tension lines, if there's a railroad, if there's mines in the area, if there's oil in the area, if shoot, I can't remember. But anyways, there in before land ID came around and you wanted to see where a floodplain was, you'd have to pull a parcel on a flood map, the FEMA floodplain map, and it sometimes is difficult to navigate. Sometimes areas aren't properly identified. But nonetheless, Land ID is one of my tools I use for due diligence, along with a ton of other things. And then I've noticed as I go into new markets that a lot of counties and municipalities have different GIS maps. Some are crazy in depth. There's even one locally that will show me where all of the underground water, gas, power lines, all of the utilities are mapped out on a GIS map, where in other areas, like where I just moved from Flagstaff, they don't have anything on their GIS for that. So look into those options. I use Onyx. Onyx pretty accurate. And I use that for verifying not only ownerships, let's say I'm driving dollars, if I'm looking for easements, I want to verify access, whether or not it's landlocked, all those things. I use Onyx. And of course, I'm outdoors all the time, so I just have the app already. Um, I, I bet my wife typoed that. I'm going to blame her. It's land.id. PropStream, Google Earth, and of course, Title can help you with recorded easements and anything else that is of public record or recorded with the municipality.
Hey, Brandon, I tried to go to land.id and it actually took me to id.land. So I don't know if it's just,
Okay, so she probably typed it in and did the same thing. She's like, "Oh, that must be what it is."
yeah, I don't know.
Okay. How many slideshows?
I
On
put the link,
19.
I put the link for that in the actual thing. Jim was saying how do you market for your actual buyers for this?
I put them on the MLS, and my last one I sold on Facebook. Yeah, it was sitting on the MLS for like 45, 60 days. And I knew this particular parcel because of where it was at and the season I had purchased and marketed in was kind of slow. And so I knew it was going to sit a while, but it ended up selling on Facebook, Honor Finance, and I get 512 a month for that one. I paid 18,000 and I sold it for 55. I can't remember the details of that one, but yeah, MLS and Facebook. There's obviously other sites like landforsale.com and all kinds of them. So there's a variety of different ways, but I like using local realtors. Typically, I am licensed in that state, so I'll put an MLS by myself. So I'm licensed in Texas, Arizona, and working on my Alaska license. So I just put it up myself. Other due diligence, there's some weird things in different states. Colorado has weird water laws. I was watching a random YouTube video of a guy I follow on YouTube, obviously, Cletus McFarland. He races cars and planes and all kinds of stuff, and he bought a parcel of land in Florida. And part of his building permitting process is they had to get a study for an endangered turtle species that was known in the area. And so these are like little nuances that you have to be aware of when you're getting into a new market. Like, who would have thought that you had to get a survey for or a study done for turtles? So I'm sure there's plenty of those weird things around the country. Is there a well? Can you get a well? How deep are the local wells if you do want a well or expect your buyer to get a well? And so most states have a well registry, and this is a screenshot of the Arizona well registry. Comps is the more difficult thing, especially in non-disclosure states like Utah, Alaska, and several others. You can go on realtor.com and it'll show an asking price, but once it's sold, that price is gone forever. Unless it is publicly disclosed, which is hardly ever, or you reach out to the realtor or seller and they just give it up, which is hardly ever. And so that's when it's great to work with a realtor when you're working in these non-disclosure states. But when I am evaluating a property for comps and offers, I use Priced, and it's cheap. I think it's 15 or 20 bucks. I think they just raised the price. But here's a screenshot of that. It will tell you based off of all of the known comps what the high and low ARV is, what you should offer based off of these offer scales, and it will give you a multi-page PDF sheet on all of the details of that property. And it's pretty freaking awesome. Obviously, in the non-disclosure states, be cautious and wary that it may not be accurate in nature because it doesn't have the ability to pull those comps. And how am I making offers? I know when I buy a piece of property that I've bought it so cheap, I'm going to sell it. It's just a matter of time. And so I will, if I can determine the ARV effectively, I'm offering, depending on price point, somewhere between 40 and 60% of fair market value. And if I can't find the fair market value, then I'll do a percentage of the tax appraised value because that's almost always lower than market value. I haven't found an area ever where the tax appraised is equal or near market. And so if it's under 50, now I've raised to about 80,000. If it's in that price point, I'm doing 40%, 40 to 50% offers. And in land, I don't necessarily like to go above 100,000 when I'm doing my owner finance options, because then you're starting to get into a different caliber of buyer. And there's just less of those buyers. There's more people that are going to have 15, 20, $30,000 to give you down and be comfortable with that versus if you're selling somebody $150 or $180,000 piece of property, you don't want $15,000 down. It's just not all that worth it. And for me, my down payment, it needs to be enough to clear the underlying note if that lender wants out. So that's what I look for when I'm doing my exits. Oh, another one. This one's pretty cool. I like this one a lot. Big chunk of change, and I'm getting 3 years of cash flow. This is so I paid 24,000. I paid cash for that one, no loan. I sold it on the MLS 65,000. I got $50,000 down, so I got a sizable check, and that remaining small balance is paying me $477 a month. It's only 9%, but I have no headache, and I will never talk to these people unless they default or need to clear my loan. I'm happy as peaches.
I'm surprised you're getting 477 a month at a $15,000 loan.
Short-term amortization, it's only 3 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice job.
I can stretch it out, but I like to leave the initial offering up to the buyer. Like, tell me what you can offer. What are you comfortable with paying monthly wise? So they said they wanted to stay under 500 bucks, I believe. And so I just worked the interest and AM schedule to what I was comfortable with, and I pitched to them, and we're all good. So
I like it too that you paid 24 and you took a 50K down payment.
yeah, so
So
I
you
was
get a
able to
huge chunk, 20
right.
some thousand at closing, and then you get 477 a month for 3 years.
Yep, yep. And this one was a little unique that had a home built septic, had that storage shed, and had a solar panel system there that was wired into that shed. And it looked very professionally done, but it wasn't permitted. So I obviously had to disclose that. And I made them sign an addendum saying that they were aware that these were not permitted. And in the future, if the county says tear it down, don't sue me. Da, 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 da. This is more pitch on Deal Manager. So within Deal Manager, we do have contracts. You can upload your own templates. We have templates in there for assignment fees, contracts, all kinds of things. And currently, we do not have an e-sign in there, but it is on the punch list and should be done pretty soon because we were just negotiating that a couple of days ago. And so you'll be able to upload your PDFs and send e-signs within the platform. And then our loan servicing, I've used several over the years. August REI is one of the biggest known ones in the Dallas, Texas market, and I hated them. It was awful. And so I used Terra Notes, and they do have a very cheap. They just got rid of their free option last month, but now it's a couple of bucks per loan. It's nothing. And then I just pass that fee on to the end buyer. So there's we have sorry, we have a management fee basically. And so every month I think we charge them 15 bucks or something pretty nominal, but it covers a lot of these just annoying expenses and stuff like that. And then let's see. That's pretty much it for that. There's a bunch of links. I can send this to you guys to distribute to all the viewers if you guys want it. These are just some of the links. And then I can run over Deal Manager very briefly because, like I said, I'm not a salesman, but this is Deal
Yes,
Manager.
we want to see Deal Manager.
I'd like to see Deal Manager, but
I'm going to help. We're going to help you, Brandon, because
Thanks.
you don't have to sell, but it's a great product. So
Yeah.
show
interesting,
us.
Jim, because this morning in Dealmaker, the Facebook group, somebody was
Yes.
asking about how
Hannah
do you
Fisher.
guys do contracts. So how do you guys? So you actually have that. I didn't realize you had that integrated inside of Deal Machine. So you can actually just it's like an autofill read. They just fill out a form and then just auto populates your leases or your contracts or whatever you want to throw in Deal Machine.
Yeah.
Cool.
So this one is land flippers can use it. Obviously, I use it, but it's going to be for somebody that's doing a decent amount of wholesaling or flipping, and they need to evaluate a single family residence in depth. And so let's go, for example, these are just made up. This is actually my very first flip. Those pictures out there, I just found them earlier. And so I'm going to go into edit mode, but when you're inputting a property, it's all pretty basic for the most part when you're going through it, but there's some aspects that are super, super cool, and I'll show them. So basic property information, some notes on your interaction with the seller, what it is, all of your pictures you took on site. It'll pull in a Google Map image, your seller information, and then all the aspects of the deal. What stage is it in? What's your exit strategy? What type of property was it vacant? Is what kind of, what type of lead? Was it MLS pre-foreclosure? And then all the number details. If you fill in all of these details properly and not just make up some numbers, so you actually pull the tax numbers, you actually know what the market value is for rents, you pull in your comps, it will tell you what your ARV is and your expected gross income based off of the rehab you put in there and all of your other expenses. And so we have a very in-depth rehab calculator here. And once you go through this, you will hit the save down there. It'll push it into here, and it's part of your numbers now. And that PDF, that calculator can be exported as a PDF to send to your lenders, whether it's private or institutional, and it'll shoot out all your numbers. So if you put in your accepted price, your commission rate, closing rate, all your funding fees, your title fees, all of your expected known hard cost, it'll shoot out your estimated net and gross. And if you're not familiar with exit strategies or need help, we have a deal simulator. And so it'll say, based off your numbers, this is a great wholesale because of the spread. It's a good burr because your rental numbers are great, or it's a great short sale if for whatever reason you're trying to do some sort of creative strategy, whether that's subject to or whatever. And then once you've got that edited in there, we have a predictive market analyzer. So it tells you how good or bad that market's doing. And so if you're looking for a particular property for a rental, it's going to say that the declining rents in the area are pretty substantial. So it's marked it red. So you may not want to sell that property as a rental because the rental might be 1850, but you're all into a property like this. Let's say 420. This is what I sold this property for 425. So the numbers don't work for rental. And so it's shooting out you a bad number. If you fill out your rehab thing entirely, you've got the PDF there. You can do the entire property report, everything you see here. You can send the contract. You can download the PDF of this deal here. You can email it. And if you have a bird dog or a partner or whoever also in Deal Manager, you can send them the API transfer link and you can both have access to that account and manipulate it as need. But if you're running a team, we have additional users that can just be in your account. One cool thing, if you're in multiple markets, I put this in here just for me because it's kind of cool. Clearly, this is my training account, so it's not. So if I'm doing deals in Arizona and Alaska and Utah like I do, you see these little dots everywhere, and you can click on that, and it'll tell you what that deal is, and you can click it and go into the deal. Some of the cool features we're working on that we currently have, we've got integrated Google Calendar. So if you need the system to send you alerts or whatever be, you can integrate your calendar. We got the Print Genie. We have website builder, kind of like Carrot or Propelio. It's a WordPress website, auto-generated, and have a website up in 38 seconds and be on your way. Stored documents, your templates. If you forget how to do something, we have onboarding trading. And then we've also partnered with a company called Investor Boots. They're basically boots on the ground nationwide, pictures, signs, whatever. If you need proof of funds or financing, we've partnered with Art Capital. They'll shoot you over proof fund financing that's there. This button actually needs to be removed, but I'm going to show you the cool things. We're going to go to my fancy developer side of it where nobody gets to go. And so what I'm super excited about is this will be implemented, this automation section will be implemented into the deal section of that lead. And so basically what this is the Twilio integration. Twilio is a SMS, email, MMS platform where big Fortune 500 companies use for automations and communications, similar to Slack and all the other ones. Anyway, so let's just say Miss Smith called and she's interested in selling, but she's got to talk to her family members or whatever situation. She says, call back. She needs a follow-up. Well, the average person is going to put it in the counter. They're going to make note of it, however they do to remind themselves to call back. Well, now you're going to be able to get off the phone with Miss Smith. In the lead itself, you'll put 93 days from now, send Miss Smith this text. And we have templates. It'll say Miss Smith just following up, whatever it is. And it'll auto send that text and you'll be able to communicate via text or email in the system without having to go to your phone. And for me, like the follow-up is king. The money is in the follow-up. Some of my biggest wholesales, my six-figure wholesale deals, took me years of follow-up. And that's what I imagine is most investors' flaw is being able to stay on top of their leads. And so the automation is super important to me. You can see we're working on signing the documents there. That company I mentioned priced, we're integrating. The skip tracing we're integrating. I'll show you. This is how I communicate with my developers. So we've got I got a lot of personal notes. I don't know if I should be showing this, but anyways, I'm integrating CallRail soon. The only skip tracing I told you about, I got to remove the marketing tag, and then Signwell is going to be our e-sign integration there pretty soon. Anyways, that's pretty much it. I love the software so far, and Let's see. Oh, this is the developer platform, so I need to get in
Great
there
job,
before
Brandon.
I ruin this.
Yeah, there by seeing what all of the outline, I know there's at least one or two of the wholesalers that I buy houses from that are using Deal Manager. It doesn't say Deal Manager on it, but like of what they send me, but I can tell by how it all looks that there's some of my wholesalers that are using it. So
Awesome.
um, who's got questions? Anybody's
Yeah,
got
let me stop the share, and I'm happy to answer questions. I'm much more comfortable answering questions than talking in front of everybody. So
I appreciate your sharing all your the marketing resources. It's something I'm always interested in.
yeah.
Who's working right now? So thank you for that.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't see any questions, but like I said, I can shoot over the slideshow in case anybody's interested in learning the land. Obviously, if you just go to dealmanagerpro.com, you can, there's a demo video there. Basically, what I just did for you in person, there's another video on there, me just showing you the ins and outs of the system. And then, of course, there's the pricing page and all that jazz.
And I'm going to put your book link back in here. Everyone should
Oh, yeah, I
grab
keep
that.
forgetting. Yeah,
Because look, I've got it right here.
I, um, I thanks, Jim. I presented this exact slideshow on that last investor at cruise, and everybody loved it. So I like, shoot, maybe I should just do a book. And so I took basically that slideshow and expanded it. And really, when I was writing it, I thought, well, I'm just writing a book. That's kind of cool. But as people started buying it, they're like, dude, this isn't a book. This is the playbook. This tells me exactly how to go and get into land investing from A to Z. Everything I just showed you, I show you how to find the market, create the list, contact the list, follow up, how to build your VA team in the future to grow and get yourself out of the business a lot like I have. Um, Anyways, the playbook.
Brandon, are you and Ashley coming on the next Investor Attic cruise?
Don't know. When is it?
Okay. I'm going to be there. I'd love to say hello.
February?
Tom, you're coming. You're bringing your daughter, right?
Yep, I'll be there. Well, thanks
There's the link.
for sharing with us today. If anybody has any questions, we got a good 10 minutes. He can go over anything you guys want on the Deal Machine side. I did put a link to Deal Machine.
Deal manager.
Deal manager.
I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, Deal Machine is
It's an app.
Yeah, and they do lead generation done for you type
It's a
of
driving
leads.
for dollars app, basically. But
Yeah, and
DealManagerPro.com is the one we're trying to send you
yeah,
to.
let me
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
find my VA slideshow real quick because it has the list of where to find VAs. So
My favorite VA now is ChatGPT. I'm using
yeah,
a
I
lot.
want to figure out how to get their agent in there.
Yes, me
Um,
too, Brandon.
I'm working on it, and that's the other thing with that integration with the follow up. We're pulling in ChatGPT as a live communication tool with inbound leads. So if they text in and it's after hours, the bot will auto respond, and so they're almost done with that as well. But I found my slideshow. I have not personally used these, but these are well-known VA sources. We've got Fiverr, Upwork, and OnlineJobs.ph.
Yeah, that's the one a lot of people use.
Yeah. Um, Payment has changed a little bit. There's PayPal, there's Wave, which is what I use now, and Western Union. They all take varying fees and time frames for paying your people. And Wave has been the easiest one. Once it makes the first payment, it takes a little while, 7, 10 days. Then the next payment's almost instant, and it goes into the account that they set up in there. So I like that one a lot.
Yeah, we've switched to them too.
Yeah.
They're much better than PayPal.
A lot of people have questions with how to manage your VAs. We use TeamViewer, and so when I wanted to be able to see their screen or I wanted them to see my screen, we use TeamViewer, and then there I stopped using it because once I get comfortable with some VAs, I like to eliminate fees, and so there was a software that is not coming to mind right now that will at random pull screenshots of their screen to ensure that they're working, and it will sense for third-party bots. So there's a lot of VAs that have figured out how to create a auto typer so it looks like they're working, but they're not actually working. And so this system, can't freaking remember what the name of it is. It'll come to mind a second I get off here, but it'll, like I said, it will tell you if somebody's been idle too long, if the keystrokes are inconsistent in their type of work, and then, like I said, screenshots of what they're doing to make sure it's done. And then, of course, you got to get familiar with VPNs if you've got a software they need to access that's got IP limitations for stateside versus out of state. But that's pretty easy. Most computers have that nowadays, including your phone.
I
What's the other
personally
one?
think, Brandon, that a lot of people just don't think they have to manage their VAs at all. And
Yeah,
they,
you'd
and
be
they
wrong.
don't, and they really don't treat them like they're part of their team. And
Right.
I feel like for our companies, as soon as we started making them part of our team, meaning they're part of their weekly meetings, they're part of the level 10 meetings, they're part of the culture building meetings. We have a city hall meeting for all of our employees. So all the ones that are live are here, and all the ones that are virtual are on the screen right above me. you
Yep.
know so make them part of your team. They should have KPIs, and you should be able to actually. Freya right there, she's hardy, she's one of my VAs right there. So if they feel like they're part of the team and they're going to let you down if they're not getting their stuff done, then they're going to be a much better employee than you trying to manage them with these little things, to try to make sure that they're actually online. So
Yep.
as far as managing VAs, guys, I promise you, if you will make them part of your team, if you will, like, if you give them actual numbers on the scorecard each week that they have to actually achieve, if you give them to-dos, if you follow up with them just like they're any other employee. We made that mistake as well, guys. So I'm speaking from experience, thinking you can just give them a list of things and then 2 weeks later it's going to all be done. No, you need to manage them just like you manage another employee. They're just, and even if you have to sit with them on Zoom and work with them for a couple hours every week as you get started, that's how you should do it.
Yep.
You should be training them just like you're training any other employee. And I think that's where most people get wrong. At least from my experience, I've consulted a lot of different people through the years, and I hear that all the time. They're just not doing what they're supposed to do. And I'm like, well, have you actually followed up with them? Are they part of your meetings? Do you meet with them on a regular
Right.
basis? It's like some of our VAs are part of a daily huddle with our property management team because they have a daily huddle. So be a part of every single one of those meetings that another employee in their seat would sit in. Oh, I'm not sure if I lost you.
Guys, enjoy. Everyone have a good time today. Pick up some tips. That one Tom just gave was a good one, but all the way through here, I think you got amazing resources. So we really appreciate everyone tuning in today.
Yeah, awesome. I think we might have just lost Brandon. I'm not sure what happened. If is he just frozen, Jim, or is he?
I think he's gone.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, there he's
I'm
coming back
back.
there. Uh,
That's the downfall of being Alaska.
I
Internet's
hope
not
to see a
awesome.
bunch of you guys in a couple weeks in Indiana. Looking forward to getting there, Tom, and giving you a big hug.
can't wait.
It's going to be
I
great.
got Brian and Amy are actually speaking at tonight's meetup group, and he's been texting me through this because he wants to go to lunch. But anyways, Dan's going to be there as well. He's on this call. Rick's going to be there. He's on this call as well.
Well, I got to see Rick last week in Texas, which was awesome. I really
Yes.
appreciated that. All right, guys, have an awesome day.
Yes, thank you, Brandon, for investing in our community.
Yeah, no
Appreciate
problem.
you. I learned some things and wrote some notes down. You know
Keep
what?
posting to my Dealmaker group, Brandon,
Awesome.
because
Thank you.
people sign up for your CRM and your book and all that stuff. And tell your
Uh,
awesome wife, Ashley, Cheryl, and I said hello, okay?
yeah, we'll do.
And I learned today, Jim, that I need to buy more land and I need to do more land deals. So
Guilty.
Yep.
there you go. All right, guys, we'll see you next month. So
Thanks, Brandon. Have an awesome day, everybody. Thanks, Tom. Bye-bye.
September
See you guys.
30, guys, is going to be the next the next call here with Gary Harper. So we'll see you guys then.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Have a good day.